I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is Tuesday, September 25th, Village Board meeting. We will have Boy Scout Troop 149 present colors and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We'd all stand, take our hats off.
Color guard forward march. Post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color guard dismissed.
Thank you, guys. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Present.
Trustee DeVivo? Present. Trustee Kajianis?
Present.
Trustee Nemick? Present. Trustee Sabo? Present. Trustee Yukich?
Present.
Mayor Daley?
Present. Okay, are there any amendments to the agenda? All right. Tonight we have a presentation, Community and Nature and Harmony Awards. This is the 11th year of the Community and Nature and Harmony Awards ceremony. Tonight we gather to recognize those individuals and groups who have demonstrated a commitment to the environment and in the process have significantly contributed to the village of Homer Glen. So without further delay, Trustee Margaret Sabo will announce this year's award recipients.
I think,
Yeah, it's on.
you can hear me? Welcome to the celebration of Homer Glen Lands Day, which is celebrated in conjunction with National Public Lands Day. And I'd like to draw your attention to the boards that are back there on the left side of the wall, because our recipients are pictured up there for the things that they have done. This important day is set aside to show support for recognizing and protecting significant areas in the natural environment. The village proclamation for this special day in 2001 states, "The village of Homer Glen was founded and incorporated in large part due to the desires of its citizens to preserve the unique and diverse components of the natural environment within the village, and to take steps to assist in the further protection and beautification of that environment." Through the efforts of the Environment Committee, the village created the Community and Nature and Harmony Award in 2002. Now in 2011, the 11th year for award, the village again recognizes individuals, businesses, community organizations, and government agencies that have demonstrated a commitment to the environment and in the process significantly contributed to community pride through the preservation, restoration, and or beautification of land within the Homer Glen community. Projects and nominations must have been completed by August 8th to meet the criteria. The tree planting ceremony, another activity of Homer Glen Lands Day, has been scheduled to take place during the third week. The Homer Glen Environment Committee will be coordinating a tree planting ceremony at Luther J. Schilling School. Rick Gomez of Instant Shade Tree Planting, Inc. will be donating his services and demonstrating how a large tree is planted using modern-day equipment. At this time during the awards recognition, we are honored to have the assistance of our Homer Glen Mayor, Jim Daly, who will present the certificates to individuals and groups. After the awards presentation is complete, recipients should plan to stay for photographs immediately following the ceremony. Some group photos will be taken immediately after presentation of their award. These photographs will be available on the Homer Glen website. All members of the Environment Committee, please take your places. Sue Stylen, Cynthia Rattay, Kathy Kudla, Sharon Sweets, Bob Moses, Randy Juris, Gary White, Hirsch Collins, and Kathy Rear, advisor. At this time, I would like to introduce you to Sue Stylen, a member of the Environment Committee, who will announce the awards.
On behalf of the Community and Nature and Harmony Award Committee, once again, I'd like to say that it's been a pleasure to review all of these wonderful projects and just meet so many of these recipients. As Margaret said, that there are boards in the back of the room, and if you'd like to take a peek at the end, we'd really appreciate you to see what some of these projects look like. We have 15 projects that are receiving awards this year. To help move things along, we ask that you come forward as I read your name, proceed to the mayor to receive your certificate, and have your picture taken, and then return to your seat. If you're an individual recipient and not part of an organization represented by a group of individuals, please make sure that you stay for a group picture, which will be taken in the front here shortly after all the awards are presented. Individuals, businesses, and organizations may qualify for an award. Tonight, we're going to start the award presentation by recognizing an individual who inspires our future generation, and that's Carrie Germalos. Carrie is a teacher at William E. Young School, and she's receiving the award for inspiring students at the William E. Young School to appreciate their school environment by incorporating the protected native marshlands, insects, plants, and the reasons for eco-friendly watering practices in her classroom science lessons. Okay, this next grouping of awards are organizations that have taken an active role in improving our community through a project. Boy Scout Troop 63. We'd like to have all of you up here. Because we're going to do a group picture at the moment.
Just got some like nail on the ground.
Why don't you guys organize?
That's all. Yeah, just got nail on the ground.
And while they're organizing, I'm going to read the names of the boys in the troop. Roscoe Ray, Kuno Berry, Jacob Jagodzinski, Amir Kalaf, Adam Klein, Philip Mettendorf, Silas Ray, Jack Mitchell, Chuck Amaro, Danny Channing, Nick Sawatsky, Andrew Henson, Lee Osterkorn, Owen Sawatsky, Ben Cryer, Brett Miller, Kevin Giroux, Brad Lennox, Michael Philbrick, Zach Sawatsky, Jonathan Mattingly, Brandon Sadowski, Robbie Civil, Joe Cryer, Austin Fruth, Adam Foilich, Joey Lupa, Will McPherson, Alex Mullen, Donovan Paskey, Alex Schaefer, Andy Smidelski, Patrick Wozek, Tony Carollo, Jeff Mandrala, Jim Mandrala, Charlie Ely, Matt LeMay, and Stan Ray. And we're so lucky to have so many active in our community. And they're receiving the award for extending and framing a new wheelchair accessible campfire area at the Shady Oaks Camp and building corner fences at the Trantina Farm.
Okay, thank you guys.
Boy Scout Troop 149. For restoring the old flagpole, building a new split rail fence, and beautifying the landscape at Shady Oaks Camp. And I'm going to read all of their names. They all could not be here tonight because they had a Boy Scout troop meeting. Liam Athey, James Beecher, Paul Crandall, Jared Hansen, Kevin Kaufman, Patrick Kerrigan, Noah Kubowicz, Martin Minogue, Matthew Mowry, Quinn Pulaski, Raymond Postelnick, Paul Rashwalski, Brian Shoberly, Justin Stanwood, Joseph Wolano, Christopher Walker Marin, Christian Wachowitz, Joshua Victor, and Delaney McGuire.
Elena, you want one?
One more.
Thank you, guys.
Daisy Troop 593.
Okay, how do you want to set them up? Who's the setup?
I'll read their names while they're setting up. Gianna Scapalato, Kylie Otulo, Cameron Otulo, Bianca Perez, Erin Gardaler, Cassidy Cleveland, Charlie Cleveland, Gia Perme, Elise Tanquillet, Elizabeth Munier, and Neha Samuel, and leaders Joy Tanquillet and Kelly Zurich. And they are receiving the award for planting colorful flowers to brighten the grounds at Shady Oaks Camp.
All right, guys, thank you. All right, good job, girls.
Homer Glen Foundation. Accepting the award for the foundation is Sherry Kozalaha, Jody Oliveri, Tammy O'Brien, and Laura Ward. And they're receiving the award for coordinating the Mike Hike 5K event, which involved more than 700 individuals and raised funds to support trail connections and amenities along the Homer Glen Heroes Trail.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Glen Junior Women's Club. Accepting the award for the club is Susie Spratt, President, and Annette Brzezowski. And they're receiving the award for donating a large autumn blaze maple tree and more than 200 hours to the landscaping and beautification of the historic Old Town Hall.
Thank you.
This next grouping gives recognition to properties within Homer Glen. The following award recipients will receive a sign to be placed on the property which is being recognized. When I call your name, please stand and come forward while I read your acknowledgement. Proceed to Kathy and Mayor Daley to receive your certificate and have your picture taken, and then proceed to Sharon to receive your sign. And then take your seat and stay for a group picture, which will be taken in the front here shortly after all the awards have been presented. Joseph and Mary L. Farovich.
How you doing, guys?
And they are receiving the award for establishing an attractive landscape that complements their house and blends seamlessly with the surrounding natural area. The Annunciation Byzantine Catholic Church. And accepting the award for the church is Father Thomas Loya. And they are receiving the award for restoring abandoned detention area and turning it into a natural prairie with a plaza, bridge, and terraced garden for the enjoyment of the community. Albert and Dolores Wachowski. For beautifying their property from the parkway, transitioning to the backyard to provide an attractive landscape from beginning to end. Illinois Live Steamers. And accepting the award is Rick Tracy. Apparently he is not here tonight. The award is for continuously planting and preserving numerous trees, tree cycling, and establishing a wildlife habitat on their property. Edward and Nadia Cutts. For creating an attractive outdoor living space with terraced gardens and a waterfall gently cascading into a large pond on their property. Jeffrey and Paula Leach. For designing a tranquil landscape on a corner lot that provides an attractive, consistent view from all sides and is an inspiration to others. Luther J. Schilling School, and accepting the award is Principal Ann Christie. For setting an example of green building practices and environmental stewardship through a sustainable renovation and addition that includes a rainwater harvesting system, bioswales, permeable pavers, recycled content building materials, water-saving features, low VOC paint, energy-efficient daylight harvesting, and lighting controls. Roger and Dana Rizepka, and they cannot be here tonight. They are receiving an award for incorporating a variety of plants and grasses in a beautiful drought-resistant landscape design on their property. Lisa and Elizabeth Zilkowski. For creating a colorful garden showcase on their property. And let's give everyone a big round of applause. I'd like to thank you all for attending this evening and showing your support for this Homer Glen event. Mayor Daley and village trustees, thank you for your support. And the Environment Committee members, thank you for your assistance in coordinating these presentations. We would like a few group pictures of the other recipients for publication that have not been in a group picture already. And we would like to post those on our village website. And we would like to request all of the recipients that did not have the picture taken to stay for a quick group picture. So before you take these pictures, Mr. Mayor, maybe have a brief recess?
Sure. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting back to order. This is the village board meeting, Tuesday, September 25th. Is there a motion to reconvene the meeting?
So moved.
First by trustee Yukich.
Second.
Second by trustee Costa. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, we're back in the village board meeting. The next portion of this village board meeting is F, which is approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th, 2012? First by trustee Sabo, second by trustee DeVivo. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo? Aye. Trustee Janice?
Aye.
Trustee Nemick? Aye. Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. G, is there a motion to approve the accounts payable for the period of August 30th to September 26th, 2012?
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee Yukich. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVivo? Aye. Trustee Janice?
Aye.
Trustee Nemick? Aye. Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. The next portion of this meeting is reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I'll start out. There's an update on the housing statistics. I wanted to give a brief update on the uptick in housing sales within the village. In July of 2012, 24 single-family homes and 1 multifamily home were sold in the village. The average sale price of a single-family home was $321,469, while the price of a multifamily home was $170,000. In comparison, 15 single-family homes and 2 multifamily homes were sold in July of 2011. This represents a 60% increase in single-family home sales from July 2011 to July 2012. Another positive note in the month sales report is the continued absorption of vacant residential lots in the market. In May of 2012, 6 residential lots were sold. In June of 2012, the number continued to increase as 8 additional lots were sold. In July 2012, 4 vacant lots, residential lots, were sold. Okay, under the Village of Homer Glen's paper shredding and recycling electronic drop-off event. On Saturday, September 15th, the village hosted its first paper shredding and recycling electronic drop-off event at the Hadley Middle School parking lot. This event was a huge hit with the residents. There were 762 vehicles served during the 4-hour event. 44,000 pounds of paper were shredded, and 40 pallets full of electronic devices were collected. This event was successful because of the hard work of the village staff and volunteers. I want to thank Village Manager Davis, Assistant to the Village Manager Parker, and EMA Coordinator John Robinson for their dedication to this project. I would also like to thank the volunteers who helped to ensure the success of this event. Based on the positive feedback received, I encourage the village board to schedule another paper shredding electronic recycling event next year. With nearly 200 participants an hour, there's clearly a demand for this type of event in our community. Under our village's new videographer, I would like to introduce the village's new videographer, Rush Darwish. Rush is doing a great job taking the meetings and editing them so they can be uploaded to the village's website, LCTV's Channel 6, and YouTube. Congratulations. And just on the trick-or-treat hours here, a quick reminder for everyone, trick-or-treat hours are from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, October 31st. I hope everybody has a fun and safe time on Halloween. And that concludes the mayor's report. Under trustees' reports, how about we start down with Trustee DeVivo?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a brief comment about the meeting we had last night for Parks and Recreation. We decided that this winter we're going to be reviewing the trail system, and we are going to be looking at connections. And some of those would be possibly to Bliddings Grove School and to the current sports fields. So it's something that we'll be working on. We're going to set up maps, and anything the public can do to help us, we would definitely appreciate it. And the other issue is that we also, the village manager and I went to Stonebridge Park, and we're going to be doing some more landscaping there. I guess it took its toll this summer, so we'll be looking at that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee DeVivo. Trustee Neiman?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In case anyone did not see the Daily Southtown and other news, this past week, the ICC approved Illinois American rate hike that they had put forward early, about a year ago. And the good news is that they were asking for $34 million, and the ICC cut them down to only $17 million. So we are very fortunate. Those who only use 5,000 gallons of water will only see a 3% rate hike beginning this October. And Illinois American has promised us that you'll be getting letters from them explaining why this rate hike was important. So on a more positive note, I want to make a note that while one of our community and nature recipients tonight was the Homer Glen Foundation for the Mike hike and the improvements to the trail system. There's another Mike hike coming up on November 3rd. And registrations for those of you who'd like to run or walk are being taken at the homerglen.org website. It's www.homerglen.org and foundation.org. And we'll post that up on the website. The funds for this year will be to create a veterans memorial over in the healing guns. So, and I'm providing more information for that. And that's homeglenfoundation.org or .com. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Nemick. Trustee K. Janice?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to state, looking at this audience, I'd like to congratulate all the recipients of tonight's awards and certificates. As I look at these young people out here, and it's just a bright future when I see them, and to the parents and the grandparents. Job well done on raising your children to give back to the community such as you have. This is just a bright future. And I look forward to watching you grow up in this community and do wonderful things. At this time, I'd also like to state that we had a ribbon cutting this afternoon for MD Farms right there down here south of us, Village Hall on Bell Road. Mark and Donna do a wonderful job over there with their produce. And looking forward to getting restocking of corn over there. But also they have a wide variety of pumpkins, different shapes, sizes, and colors. I'd just like to congratulate them on their ribbon cutting.
Thank you, Trustee K. Janice. Trustee Sabo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to also congratulate the 15 Community Nature Award recipients who have helped beautify, preserve properties in Homer Glen community. And photographs taken this evening, again, will be placed on our website. The second activity related to Homer Glen Lands Day will be a tree planting that will take place at Schilling School the third week in October. The entire school will be present to view the process of planting the large trees, according to Principal Ann Christie. Rick Gomez of Instant Shades Tree Transplanting Incorporated Company will be donating his services for the installation, and the Environment Committee is also coordinating this event with Schilling School. Another event that's going to take place in October, it's very important for children and adults, is the stargazing on October 19th. The Environment Committee is hosting the second stargazing event, October 19th from 8 to 10 at the Trentina Farm on 151st Street near Gauger Road. Please note that the date is not October 12th, it's October 19th. This is a fun educational event with 3 astronomy clubs donating their time and bringing large telescopes for viewing the night sky. They will highlight astronomical beauties such as Andromeda, Pegasus, Capella, Cassiopeia, and even our own Milky Way. The stargazing event is coordinated with the Homer Glen EMA in Homer Township on their property. The event is free to the public, and we encourage adults and school children to attend. And so, since there are school children here, please report that to your class and to your teacher, and have them look at the website for more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Sabo. Trustee Yukich?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
How about Trustee Costa?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to give my report when we discuss item J6, if I could, please.
J6 will be
Customer.
yeah, Mr. Festival. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that concludes the trustees' report. Does the treasurer have a report?
Yes, Mayor, I have the treasurer's report of cash and investments as of August 31st, 2012. It's the 4th month of fiscal 13. The general fund had cash and investment balances on August 31st of $6,207,869.18. The motor fuel tax fund had a cash and investment balance of $1,579,857.91. The land acquisition fund had a cash and investment balance of $1,238,188.35. Park fund had cash and investments of $836,664.09. The capital project fund had cash and investments totaling $3,713,415.06. And the last fund, the tollway fund, had a balance of $899,086.45. Total cash and investments, end of August 31st, all funds, was $14,475,081.04. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Does the clerk have a report?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
How about the village attorney?
No report.
Do we have any task force chairpersons that would like to give a report? How about any public safety officials? Mark, Joe? Mike, go right ahead. Highway Commissioner Mike DeVivo.
Good evening, village staff, attorneys.
You may have to pull that up so the public can.
I'd just like to comment on the high-profile incident we had here last Thursday involving the highway department and one of our vehicles where the driver lost consciousness in the truck and then creamed off the road and into a house. I just want to make sure everybody realized that there was no physical injuries of anybody in the home, and the driver only sustained some lacerations that required stitches. The driver's right now, his driving privileges have been revoked for 30 days. He's under doctor's care. I'm not quite sure. They're still trying to monitor him and to find out exactly what it was that caused him to lose conscious. But until he is released from the medical staff and until we get a report, he'll be off duty. I'd like to comment on the quick response from all the emergency departments in Homer Glen who were there. They made everything go quite well. I can assure you that the homeowner has been in touch with our insurance company since about an hour after the accident, and they're moving forward with repairs already. Does anybody have any questions regarding that?
No, I talked with Tom, he seems like he's doing okay. He had no idea how it happened either.
No. And it'll be a while. I know he's on some kind of a monitor, some kind of a medical monitor for 30 days. So it may be a while before we know if they're...
Okay, thanks Mike for that report.
Thank you.
Okay, does the village manager have a report?
I do, Mayor, real quick. As long as Commissioner DeVito is here, I said something at the last meeting, thanked him, but just wanted to thank him for providing staff for our paper shredding and electronic recycling event. They worked very hard, appreciate that very much. It was a great event. I appreciate the mayor's nice comments. I think Heather in the office did a lot of work on that, and a lot of PR work on it, and setting it up and getting it all organized. So Heather Parker deserves a lot of credit for that. Mike was there helping, a lot of staff members were there helping. Really appreciate the teamwork from the staff and from the township. The best part about that is that we were able to hand out a lot of good information, and everybody was very, very positive about it. Everybody that came through. There were a few people that were from adjoining municipalities. We let a few of our good neighbors to the east and the west into the event. There was very few, and they were appreciative of the opportunity because they don't have them available in their communities. One thing that we found out that I want to make the board aware, we just found out here at the very end of last week, Friday afternoon, and we've been working on it ever since, is every community that's a part of the electric aggregation, there have been a few homes here and there that were missed in mailings. And so when we were getting a few calls in here and there, we were concerned about it, but we weren't overly concerned about it because we thought it was normal, part of the normal operation. Well, we found out on Friday that we actually left out thousands of homes in the community in terms of the mailing. There was a snafu from the ComEd master list that was provided to Will County. So ComEd has committed to having a new and accurate list for us tomorrow morning. The mayor and I are actually meeting with ComEd reps tomorrow morning. We will get that list immediately to First Energy and Baycott and Will County, and they will send out letters to all those people that were missed in the first round. And they will be given an opportunity, like everybody who received the letters already, they will be given an opportunity to opt out. Unfortunately, those people that are a month late now will miss 1 month of savings. One of the things that's challenging here is that unlike a lot of communities who have databases of their residents because they provide water and sewer, or they have vehicle sticker databases and stuff like that, we do not have a complete accurate database of everyone who lives in the community. So these things, we really rely on ComEd to provide us an absolute accurate list. And unfortunately, they're very apologetic, but the list that came through missed portions of the community. So I wanted to let you know about that. We're going to put some information out on the website tomorrow about it. And I would just want to assure you too that we actually have not gotten an inordinate number of calls. We've gotten a good number of calls, but we haven't gotten a tremendous number of calls here as well. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, as we get more information, I'll certainly share that. Go ahead, Trustee Neal.
You said that the residents who did not receive the letter are missing a month of service.
They'll be a month late
and
being transferred over if they don't opt out.
Okay, so there's a 30-day delay giving them the option to opt out?
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
deadline, I think, actually is either today or tomorrow for the people that actually received the letters. And then the switch happens pretty quickly for those people who did not call or did not try to letter and opt out. The switch to the new energy provider happens pretty quickly. Unfortunately, the people that were not a part of the original mailing that's gonna happen next month after they have their required 20-day period to opt out.
Okay, and are we certain that we have all of the comment customers now?
Well, you know, I think Scott has been very concerned about the problem. That's one of the reasons he's meeting with Mayor and I tomorrow. Scott Bertrand, for those of you in the community, the board is very familiar with him. He's very concerned about this issue. I think he spent a good portion of the day trying to figure it out. So we'll know more after the mayor and I talk to him. I think he's very concerned about making sure that it's accurate.
Okay.
So, okay. Very good, Mayor. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, the next portion of the meeting would be public comment. Thank you, Joe. Okay, the first person that would like to talk is Joan Pavlik.
Good evening. There are several of us here this evening representing
Joan, before you start, could you have your name and address for the
Sure.
record?
Joan Pavlik, 15214 South Mackenzie Drive.
Okay.
There are several of us here this evening representing the Cypress Point subdivision. I would like to make a statement regarding our unfinished subdivision. It is my understanding that the trustees decided against authorizing bonds to pay for the completion of the unfinished subdivision. Our first concern is that we still are not aware of who the developer of our subdivision actually is. Therefore, we do not know who is responsible for the maintenance of our roads, such as snow plowing. I believe that there were a few current trustees who were serving at the time of the transition of the forming of the Village of Homer Glen, and I'm sure that you are aware that at that time, somehow our letter of credit apparently expired. As homeowners who pay taxes, we do not feel that we should be responsible for the approximately $350,000 it would take to complete our subdivision. While I acknowledge the importance of the other issues covered by the bonds, I would like to remind the board of the concerns of the Cypress Point homeowners.
Thank you, Joan. Okay, sure. Nothing has been decided yet because what we've done is we've created funding for capital projects. We have the study in right now from, I believe, HR Green did it, and it describes the inefficiencies in each subdivision. That's fairly new to us, this study. The board is going to have to decide to what extent or to any extent they're going to take care of these issues in subdivisions. That we have not gotten to that point yet. That is for discussion. That discussion will probably have to take place in some type of workshop format. But there's a lot of parts to this puzzle that came in through this study. One is that we have to have the law firm look into a lot of different legal issues of who actually owns this, who was responsible. Can you hold a bank to being responsible even though there wasn't a letter of credit? What the PIN numbers are identified. The study just came in not too long ago, and we're trying to figure out exactly what we can and can't do. And that discussion, really, in fairness to the trustees, has not been thoroughly discussed. It just, we haven't gotten to that point yet. We spent a lot of time recently on the funding mechanism for capital improvement projects. That took 4 4-hour meetings, bond council, $17 million, $25 million of authority. So we're gonna discuss it and figure out what we can do for the residents of Homer Glen, and we will get back to you. Okay. With that being said, the next public speaker would be Bob M-I-C-H-E-T.
My name is Bob Mache. My address is 15226 South Mackenzie Drive. I'm also in Cypress Point. To help matters along with this, we have uncovered a couple of letters about our letter of credit that was sent to Homer Glen. Homer Glen was given 90 days to tell the Bank of Country, State Bank of Countryside, what to do with the letter of credit. Nothing was done. They're very negligent. That's a lot of money to just not have anything done with. I can give you copies of this, you can look at it. It's the letter of credit says 90 days, and the other letter says it's been expired. And it's very interesting that, you know, you're coming here today and your number 3 of the action items is a letter of credit release. I want to listen to this very closely to see what you did with our letter of credit comparing to this letter of credit you're going to be dealing with. Thank you, Carol. I'll give these to the mayor.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. All right, the next speaker would be Bob Schmidt. Name and address for the record.
Bob Smith, I'm going to use both addresses, 13515 West 59th Street and 14025 Parkland Road, Homer Glen. Resident over 40 years, business over 34. Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. I will try to do brief. I recently had the opportunity to present the position of the Business Owners Group on 169th Street to the Planning Commission Monday night. I thank them graciously for listening to me, and although I don't know what they'll be able to do, and I don't know what you'll be able to do, we can only hope that you have a concern for, and I'll say it, sales tax dollars. I will go on with my written letter so I don't ramble. A portion of 159th Street and an unbottled meaning is not acceptable. That will only depress the business community on 159th Street. Allowing only a right turn to businesses coming from the west going east or from the east going west. Quite frankly, and I don't mean to talk about our business, but a substantial amount of our business comes from the east side. So trying to encourage our customers to make a U-turn on a highway with regulated speed somewhere between 50 and 55 miles an hour. Doesn't sound to me, or our group, that is very safe. The same effect on the north side. We are not against immediate, but make it vulnerable. Make for proper delivery. We have 18-wheelers coming out of various businesses. The mayor had said, well, let's figure out a way to get there. Okay, at 55 miles an hour, and you all know that 159th Street, 55 is the slow rate of speed. I know I have to sit. Also, with the IDOT proposal, a few of the businesses and the owners of those businesses will be in harm's way. The highway going past our store as well as Aquapool and East Highway. Now, East Highway has an advantage because they have the largest parking lot. And quite frankly, gentlemen, I have asked you to come to our store to look at where the highway will be. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the village manager came to see it. Whether he agrees with us or not, it is totally unsafe. Why don't you come on and sit there and envision a car at 65 miles an hour coming through our front window? We've had it happen before. What's going to stop it from happening again? Also, let's talk about the young people crossing 159th Street at 50 and 55 miles an hour. We're getting back to safety. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know what you can do to reach Illinois Department of Transportation, but at least try. Try to keep our children safe and our business growing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And so, to clarify, I've been to your store on many occasions, and I actually drove you to IDOT's place of business with a number of businessmen from 159th Street, and we met with them. So, not exactly what you're saying is correct, Bob. You know that. And I know that many of these trustees up here have been to your store, and they have reviewed the plan, so that's that. Next speaker, John Coy.
John Coy, 12056 Alicia Way, Florham Park. I'm here tonight to a couple subjects. One is this park or median in the middle of the street. You're going to be talking about later on landscaping. I would like to, I don't know if you're even going to bring it up, but I can't talk later, so anyway, I'll suggest now what I thought is, if we put this median in, it's going to be 30 feet wide. You have a long stretch of road there. I don't know how many miles it is. But we have Illinois American Water right now that it's going to have to supply the water for that, the water, evergreens, grass, and all the rest of this good stuff. Or we have to go out, purchase a tanker, then pay for our own help, not even only pay them a payroll, but then you have to pay them their pension and all the rest of the stuff that goes along with it. So landscaping is fine, but I don't think that whole thing should be landscaped. And then if most of it is landscaped, I think we should think about, can we, the village, put in our own well to take care of the water in this 30-foot wide by, what is it, 6 miles, 8 miles, I don't know. Anyway, it's something to look into. Another thing, as soon as we had those meetings, like over at the grammar school, our village meetings have not been on. From the week before that, they haven't been on the television again. Is there a reason why we don't want our village to be, you know, on TV anymore? Or I have no idea why that is. But
I just watched the last meeting on TV. I just watched the last meeting. Maybe you're missing a program. I've seen it on TV.
Well, I thought
but it's on YouTube too. It's available on YouTube and on our village website. You can gain access to it.
I talked to 2 people tonight that say that one of them got it on the website, one got it on YouTube. But like I say, I haven't found it on the television now since the meeting we had over at the grammar school.
All right, thank you. All right, that concludes public comment. The next item on the agenda are legislation and action items. Is there a motion to approve the preliminary engineering services agreement with HR Green for the south extension of the Heroes Trail in the amount of $37,738.79?
So moved.
First by trustee DeVivo.
Second.
Second by trustee Kay Janice. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Kay Janice.
Aye.
Trustee Nemec.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. This would be J2. Is there a motion to approve the proposal from HR Green for engineering services related to the development of the Erin Hills Park in the amount of $21,214?
So moved.
First by trustee DeVivo,
Second.
second by trustee Costa. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Nemec.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo. Aye. Trustee Kay Janice.
Motion carries. This would be J3. Is there a motion to approve the release of the letter of credit for Skender subdivision in the amount of $24,446.18? It is understood that this is a full and complete release of the LOC associated with the project.
So moved.
First by trustee DeVivo,
Second.
second by trustee Nemec. Any discussion? Why don't you explain it, because you had somebody ask about how a letter gets released.
Michael is going to give you a little recap of it
Okay.
in addition to your
Basically, what this is actually in 2010, September of 2010, the developer completed the subdivision. As required by our ordinance, the developer needs to put up a letter of credit for a 2-year period in the amount of 10%. Basically, it's a warranty period, make sure that everything is complete, that there's no defects in material and workmanship. The letter of credit, the warranty letter of credit is coming due. Village staff and highway department representatives did an inspection of the subdivision, found everything to be acceptable and in line with our ordinances. Therefore, we're requesting a release of the letter of credit. But as stated, the subdivision was already completed. This is just a warranty period, so basically they are completing their requirements as far as our ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Everybody understand it? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo. Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Trustee Kay Janice.
Aye.
Trustee Nemec.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 12-01010, a resolution of the Village of Homer Glen, Will, in Cook Counties, Illinois, approving a bond record keeping and compliance policy?
So.
First by trustee Sabo,
Second.
second by trustee Costa. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, trustee Sabo.
On page 5, I think this is probably for the attorney. It mentions in section 8 and following sections, contracts related to private use. So I just wondered if you could give me an example of what that could mean or be.
That would be if there was a contract for involving private use of a facility that was financed in its entirety or in part by proceeds from the bond issue. If that were done, there's a special reporting requirement. That is not the intention of the bond issue at all, but as part of the compliance policy that the IRS requires, if that were done, there is a reporting requirement with respect to that.
Right, I didn't think the village intended to do anything like that, but it just kind of, wording in there kind of came out from left field, so to
It
speak.
has to be in the compliance policy. That's one of the requirements.
Very good. Thank you, that answers the question.
Is there any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Trustee Kay Janice.
Aye.
Trustee Nemec.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Motion carries. J5, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 12-042, an ordinance amending ordinance number 10-001, entitled an ordinance establishing rules for the conduct of the village board meetings in the Village of Homer Glen, Will County, Illinois?
So moved.
First by trustee Nemec,
Second.
second by trustee DeVivo. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I
trustee
just
Nemec.
want to reiterate that, that this be a very conservative consent agenda initially, as this board becomes accustomed to looking at issues in this manner.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo? Aye. Trustee Janis?
Aye.
Trustee Nemec?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo? Aye. Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be J6. Is there a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Homer Township to co-sponsor the 2013 Homer Community Festival on June 20th through June 23rd, 2013?
So moved.
First by trustee Costa,
Second.
second by trustee Yukich. Trustee Costa would like to give a brief report on the 2012 festival's success. Trustee Costa?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You see on the third page, we have our receipts and expenses for this year. We had a good festival. Of course, our goal on this whole festival moving forward, and hopefully it keeps moving forward, is that it will be completely self-sufficient through proceeds from the previous years. I don't know if you had a chance to look at all of these, but you can see that what we budgeted compared to our actual, we did have a number of line items that were considerably less. That was, again, in the course of the year of planning, we gave you the budget earlier on in the year. We were able to negotiate with a number of entities to bring the cost down so that the final cost was considerably less. So I don't know if you have any questions about the expenditures. I mean, our committee has been meeting already, I believe 3 meetings. And we have a tentative budget that the committee has talked about. And hopefully in the next, I'm going to say month, you should see a budget come back to the board for approval.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I'd just like to comment on the fact that the trustees and the volunteers that worked on it made this festival a very successful festival. It was a lot of fun. I attended it, and I think it'll be good again next year. And I'm glad you're already working on it. Trustee Janis?
Yes.
You may want to pull that microphone.
Thank you. I just want to say job well done looking through the expenditures and receipts. Job well done. One thing I just want to throw out for your committee, I don't know if you're looking into it, the weather was extremely favorable for us this last year, and I don't know if you've given any consideration or looked into any kind of interruption insurance if the weather should turn negative on us. Just want to throw that out for the future. We can't always count on Mother Nature to cooperate with anything we want. So, but I thought it was an outstanding job looking over everything. Looks positive, very positive.
Okay, Trustee Costa?
Also, one more comment, if I could. In the intergovernmental agreement, and I'm going to apologize, I read this thing over so many times and I helped get it written. But the one section that tells us how many of each committee member to be from each entity, from the township and the village. We have in there that comprised of 5 from each. I would like to change that to just equal numbers. What that does, it does give us flexibility as this event is growing, and we can already see next year, with all of us on the committee wearing 3 and 4 hats, it would certainly spread out a little bit of the responsibility of committee members. And I believe that our Homer Harvest Days Committee, our IGA, also reads just equal members. I would just say that we stay consistent.
Where does that say, Mike?
And yeah. Right. If we just make it equal members from each.
What you're stating is that you may want to have more than 5, then that's what you're saying?
5 from each, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So equal would just mean if you have more than 5.
Right, if it's 6 or 4, depending on, how we...
I don't have any problem with it, too. Does anybody have a problem with that? Okay. Why don't we just change that to read equal?
So it would read, a committee shall be formed consisting of an equal number of members appointed by the village and appointed by the township?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, there was a motion that has to be, do you want to speak before we change the motion? Go ahead.
I also want to congratulate the very, very hardworking committee. I had raised this issue in admin finance, and I just want to share it with the rest of the board. This year there was a net revenue, which according to this agreement is split evenly between the township and the village. And I'd like to make certain that the net revenue portion for the village goes into a specific fund, and that those funds can be used as part of what Trustee Kajanis had said, insurance for if we have bad weather or if there's some uncertain, so that those funds are obligated for this festival. And in talking with John and understanding a little bit about fund accounting, I know that that's possible. So I just want to share that with the rest of the board, that that was my opinion, and see if we're in agreement.
I would agree with your opinion up to a certain point. At some point, if the festival continues to make dollars to where this fund becomes so large, it may be needed in other areas. The first festival was funded with $20,000, I believe, from each entity, correct?
Yes.
And then this year, it was pretty much, what was it last year, Mike and George? Pretty much a break even, something like that?
Well, last year it actually cost each government $20,000. This year we 15. Or 15? Yeah. This year
15,
we actually
okay.
are $41,000 to the good.
So this year you made 20. So each entity, government entity, is going to get 20,000. So say for instance next year you have even a better success, and you end up making 35,000 on top of the $20,000 you have in the account. Now you have a $55,000 account. I think at some point you have to cap what you want to keep in that account, or create language that says money in excesses of certain amounts, or money is needed in other events, or something along those lines. Because this account, realistically, in 10 years, could have $500,000. Go ahead.
Well, that doesn't preclude us from setting up a separate fund now, and any transfer from that particular fund would need to come to this board unless it was done at the budget time, in which this board would approve a budget. So I don't think it precludes it. What I don't want to see is that it get absorbed in a way that doesn't protect this, which is a new festival, from having a reserve. Because I think that it will need a reserve. There will not be other years when we have gorgeous weather. And I think that I think that takes the financial burden off the village and the taxpayers by having this reserve set up for this event.
And you're correct. You can always do a fund transfer. That's one way of handling it.
I think it's the committee's intent to bring forth a recommendation. Trustee Costa, if I'm not wrong, I think you're going to be working with John and the township, and they're going to come forward with a recommendation on the financial side here.
Okay.
I have one other thing, Mayor.
Trustee Yukich?
Well, with what Karen just got done saying, yes, that's exactly what we want to do. We would like to get this tour is kept on the side, so hopefully within 2 years we don't have to come to the village for anything, and then if we make a profit from there, what we would like to do is see if we can help out some foundations, whatever, that could use the money, because this is all done with taxpayers' money in the first place. And then, as for the motion, we got to change the date because it says June 23rd, 2012. This is next year's.
You're correct, June 20 through June 23rd and 12, right? And okay, so the motion has to be changed to reflect the year being 2013, and it also has to reflect the change in what was the language? Trustee Costa wanted?
Yeah, item 5. To just read that.
Item 5 will read: a committee shall be formed consisting of an equal number of members appointed by the village and by the township.
Okay, the way the village attorney read the motion, would the first and second like to amend their motion to reflect how the village attorney just read it?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so the first amends, Trustee Costa amends his motion. The second, Trustee Yukich amends his motion. Any further discussion?
Regarding the fund this year, the committee, I want to, I think that's a solid idea to have a separate fund, but I'd like to see the feedback from the committee and the language to adopt this fund. I'd like to see, because now we're talking about possible in the future donating to other organizations and committees. I'd like to see the language and how we proceed with that fund.
Well, I'm sure after they meet, they're gonna bring it back for discussion.
Yes.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVivo? Aye. Trustee Keating-Danis?
Aye.
Trustee Nemeth? Aye. Trustee Sabo? Aye. Trustee Yukic?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next portion of this meeting is a workshop item. We have one workshop item this evening. Manager Davis, please get us started with the overview of the 159th Street median landscape options.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just take a minute here. Michael is handing out copies of the PowerPoint just so the board can follow along. Sometimes it's not as easy for the board members to see the screen as it is for the public to see. All right, well, thank you for this opportunity. This is just an opportunity for the village board to take a look at some photographs of medians, roadway medians that exist in several of our good sister municipalities in the area, 5 of which actually border us. And what we would like, we numbered the pages for you, and either tonight, if you'd like to give me some feedback, or at a later date, if you'd like to give me some feedback about certain pages that the looks that you liked, that you disliked, things of that nature. The more information that Michael and I can get, the easier it will be for us to come up with even better numbers and ideas for you in terms of the landscape medians. So, just a little bit about the medians. The IDOT has provided the village with costs of what would be entailed if grass and trees were planted in the median. Beyond that, IDOT hasn't provided, but they have said anything that you would like to do in addition to grass and trees is on your dime. For the public's benefit, the village board knows this. If IDOT were to take the medians and just cement them in, then IDOT would maintain control of the maintenance, the ownership and the maintenance of those medians forever. And it would just be cement. It would be cement in the middle of the road. The village board has discussed 159th Street on numerous occasions, and they've had an opportunity on a couple of occasions to briefly discuss the medians. They've indicated that they would like a softer look in the medians. In other words, they don't want there to be just cement. And so what staff did, we said we would do this. Last time we talked, we went out and we took a lot of photos, and we just want to get your feedback on what you see that you like or what we could fine tune. So I will go through this as quickly as possible. I know it's a lot of pages, but I think we'll go through it pretty quickly. These are the 5 communities that we visited. Except for Wheaton, all the rest of them obviously are very close to us, and we indicate on the sheets exactly where we looked at the medians, so in case you want to go out and take a look at them in person, you can certainly do that. The first community we went to is Wheaton. The reason we went to Wheaton is because Wheaton has a median that's currently under construction. For those of you who are familiar with the Donata development, which is on the south side of Wheaton, just north of the Forest Preserve District, they have Naperville Road and Butterfield Road, a shopping district down there. They have a new median under construction on both sides of what is that intersection, Naperville and Butterfield Road. The median ranges from 5 feet to 20 feet, in width, and it will be a mixture of cement, grass, and trees. What you're going to see in these photos is the fact that it's under construction. Literally, the road on the right side of the screen is closed. You see the cars on the left side. This median roadway is currently under construction. So this is an example of a portion of the median that's very thin. And the reason why it's cement and why you see cement in a lot of these thinner portions of the medians is they tend to believe that there's not enough width in them to sustain landscaping. So you see cement back. We're walking west here, walking west to a point where grass begins. This particular median in Wheaton is going to be grass and trees. Obviously, what you see now is weeds because it's literally under construction. Obviously, the median gets wider until it gets to the end where you have a turning radius. U-turns will be allowed for these medians. On the left-hand side of this median, as you're looking at it up on screen, is the Donata Shopping Center development, a very dense shopping center development. The right side is the Forest Preserve District, if you're familiar with the horse farms that they have out there right now. So this is wheat. On the Woodridge side of things, I wanted to show you a median that had been in place for a while. This median's been in place as long as I've been working in this field because a portion of it was put in when I was an intern for the village of Woodridge. It's on 75th Street, just east of Illinois Route 53. It's existed approximately 20 years. It was built in stages. It is between 8 feet and 20 feet in width, and it is a mixture of cement, grass, and trees, and it's always been that way. And so what you'll see is the trees now with 20 years of growth on them. The trees in this median are approximately 60 feet apart. This is one of the intersections, the first intersection that you come to as you're going up the hill from 53rd on 75th going east. So you walk back, just like in Wheaton, you get to the point where it's a little bit wider, grass starts, and then you go back a little bit farther and trees begin. These trees are, like I said, on average 60 feet apart. They go down the full median. This is solely grass and trees. The grass is cut, the trees are pruned. That's the extent of the maintenance. None of these medians that you'll see today are sprinklers. They all exist with natural water. None of them are watered anymore, except for one that I'll show you in Bolingbrook. Again, this is the continuation. For those of you who've been on 75th Street recently, you would see further east that they're tearing up 75th Street, reconstructing it in front of the shopping centers. These kind of medians are going to be continued further east as you go to Downers Grove and then finally down to Willowbrook. This is Woodridge. This is a little bit different. For those of you who've never been in the International Parkway development, this is an amazingly successful warehouse development for the village of Woodridge and to the west for Bolingbrook. It's existed for portions of it has existed for approximately 17 years. It's between 5 feet and 15 feet in width. This one is a mixture of plantings, bushes, flowers, mulch, grass, and trees. The interesting thing about this median is that it's actually maintained by an association. There's an association in the business park, and so landscapers come out to maintain this median. If you go and look at this median, it's a beautiful median. It actually has water features in it, there's waterfalls, has all this stuff. I'm not showing you those pictures because those are the portions of the median that are like 50 to 60 feet wide. I'm showing you the portion that would be more like the ones we're having here. What you see is you see plantings, you see mulch at the corners to soften it. There's a little close-up. Again, this goes back and turns into grass and trees. I'm afraid the picture kind of cut it off there at the top. So this median here is a mixture, like I said, of mulch, flowers, bushes, and trees. Bolingbrook, this is the most interesting median. This is on Illinois Route 53 north of Interstate 55. It's an existing median. It's been in place for a while. It's between 8 feet and 33 feet in sections. It's a mixture of cement, concrete block, raised planters, grass, mulch, and trees that are approximately 12 feet apart, although there seems to be some inconsistency in the widths, probably because some trees have died over the years and they've been replaced. So these are concrete blocks that make up a good portion of these medians. What you see here is cement, raised concrete block with trees, some plantings, some grasses. As you move farther to the north, in this particular, there's a mixture of planters and landscaped areas outside of the planters. So you're looking at mulch between the planters here with a double row of trees. This is just an advertisement for later when we talk about signage on the 53. A lot of these routes have lighted signage so people can find their way easier in the evening. This is an example of that. Again, this is the raised planters right next to the curb. It's a lot of, some for you to take a look at. This is an area a little bit farther on where the planters disappear a little bit, and then it's just trees, grass, and mulch. Obviously, it's been there for a while. The trees have some good growth on them. There's an example of flowers that are planted in the raised planters. And the raised planters are definitely on the ends and then scattered in between on both sides. All right, one of the challenges I just wanted to show you because it was so noticeable walking these medians is the more landscaping you do, of course, the more trash gets caught in the landscaping. So there's a considerable amount of trash in that median because of all the plantings. It just inevitably gets caught. And I wanted to point that out. This is Romeoville. This is a little bit farther south on 53, south of Marquette Drive, which is one of the major entrance drives into their business park. Again, it's existed for a while. It's between 6 feet and 15 feet. It has cement strips on the sides, so on the top of the curb is a cement strip, which you'll see in the photos. It's a mixture of cement, grass, bushes, plantings, and mulch. Trees that are approximately 30 feet apart and flowers. We'll say from my perspective of all the medians that we looked at, these were the most well-maintained, and they looked the nicest of all the medians we looked at. This is the cement, again, strip that goes back. It's very thin, as you can see. We have some of those on the 159th project here. This is, now you have to kind of, the grass obviously isn't green because it's been a tough summer, but very nice row of trees with the circle around each of the trees, with some mulch. You see the cement strips on top of the curb. The reason why some municipalities do that is because they feel that it helps with the salt that is placed on the road. It gives an extra buffer to the plantings. The interesting thing about this, though, is if they did not have that cement strip, you would see the strips along the side, top of curb would have less grass in them. And what you notice is that the same thing is happening at the top of the cement strip here, or if you were there, you would see it. It's like, I think that they were well-meaning, but the cement didn't go back far enough to really truly protect the grass or the plantings. So you see a lot of this on top of the cement where clearly the salt is taking its toll. It would have done the same thing on the top of the curb had they not put the cement in. So this is a mixture of grass, and then you see mulch side to side where some of the trees are, and it alternates. It goes, so there's like a nice eye appeal as you go down the street. There's another one of those signs. Bushes are part of this planting in Romeoville. One of the challenges is you got to put the bushes down the middle, because all the bushes on the sides, a lot of the bushes were dead. You see a row here dead. I didn't really have to just pick that photo. There were a number of instances where the bushes that were close to the road were dead. So the ones down the middle tend to do better. At the ends of Romeovilles, they have some very colorful plantings. And this really doesn't come here, but it's very beautiful purple. And they have a lot of that at the ends of their medians. And then as you go further towards south towards Romeoville, they have even more of these colorful plantings. And then you transition into cement right at the intersection. In Orland Park, on 159th Street, west of LaGrange, I know everybody's over there quite a bit, but just to revisit, it's 6 feet, from 6 feet to 26 feet. Are the medians. It's a mixture of cement, plantings, trees, and mulch. There's no grass. So this is a very unique median compared to what we saw out there. This is one of the few that had absolutely no grass in any of the median. The trees are approximately 30 feet apart here. So this is on the intersection looking west. And actually, Mike took these photos, and I think you're probably standing on cement, right? So can't see the cement there, but standing on it, and then you see there's just mulch from one side to the other all the way. There's trees. They actually had the beds raised a little bit here. The plantings aren't doing so well, as you can see. It's been a hard summer. Trees look healthy. I'm sure that there probably were other plantings intermixed here that probably lost a number of them. You see some dead spots. Same thing here. These are at the intersections. I'm sure that probably used to be a little bit fuller than it is now. And again, it's just mulch from one side to the other. Orland Park maintains this themselves, their staff. And then again, you see cement. You really can't tell on these photos, but that's painted cement. The paint is kind of peeling, and then it again just continues. This happens to have bushes down the middle with trees, in between the trees. And then as you go a little bit farther west, there's some grasses that are planted and other ground cover that's planted. This is probably the nicest looking portion. I encourage you to take a look. I think this is closer to the entrance to the shopping center.
This is getting closer to Canada. Costco.
Yeah, this is probably the nicest looking, so when you're out and about, if you want to take a look at it, this is probably one of the nicest, a little bit more natural look. Again, trees down the middle. I think and the trees are a straight line directly.
Correct.
Again, this is where they did some intermittent planting, and the weather has probably affected it. I'm sure it used to be fuller than it is now. That's one of the challenges. There's some sedum that's not a really great thing to plant in the middle. You don't need to water it, but it doesn't look so good. And then Mike just wanted to point out the same thing that I found in Romeoville, he found in Orland. When you're walking the medians, I don't know how much you notice it when you're driving by, but whenever you have plantings, you have trash. And so there's trash bags and cups and all sorts of stuff that you have to regularly pick up all that stuff if you want to take it from Mason. And then Lockport is our final community, our good neighbor to the west. Their median is grass, pretty bare bones. They do have responsibility for mowing it. It's 159th Street west of I-355. It's between 5 and 30 feet in width, and it's basically grass and cement. And I know you guys are all familiar with this, but just a little visual. Grass mowed from one side to the other. There's no plans to plant trees. They just wanted it to be a little bit softer. Grass, cement, that's all it is. So, all those pages are numbered, and I know it's late tonight, but if you could kind of mull it over, look at them, if you're out and about, and you actually get an opportunity to go by some of these areas, keep this presentation in your car, it's good to see the pictures, but seeing it in person really helps. And if you could provide staff with any feedback, if you feel strongly about anything, like I really liked this, I hated that, let's not look at that. That would be great. And what I'll do is any comments that I get, I'll put all together, and then I can get back so everybody can see those comments. And if you have any you'd like to give me tonight, that'd be great too.
Thank you, Ken. Nice presentation. Well, we can see, what our neighbors are doing, neighboring communities. I myself prefer a soft look. It's the entryway to Homer Glen. I don't know how far you go with plantings and grasses and that type of thing, but just cold hard concrete doesn't really give a flavor to a community that prides itself on nature and harmony. And this is going to be a big enough road as it is. And I think it needs a little softening up in the median. I'm not a landscaper, so I would yield to a professional to come up with a nice plan for Homer Glen. Trustee Newman?
I'd just like to say I'd like to see some recommendations, something that combines the aesthetics, which we are looking for, and I do agree with you, Mr. Mayor. I think that, I know Mr. Schmidt, had raised concerns about the businesses along 159th, and he certainly knows the advocacy we've had with IDOT and the problems we have with getting compromises, and we've had some compromises. But anything that we can do to make 159th look more appealing and maybe have people not just whip by at 55, but maybe slow down and enjoy the shade trees. But having said that, I think it needs to be a combination of aesthetics and practicality. And I would really in many ways look to staff to come forward with some recommendations on, you know me, I'm a cost person too, so cost of maintenance, how do we keep it looking nice too?
Sure.
Without.
One of the questions I've had, and I know that Trustee Nemec had mentioned before when we briefly discussed this, that you were concerned about the corners in particular looking good. And you noticed, like with Romeoville, obviously they put more color in the corners and then had intermittent plantings, measured with grass in between. So there's kind of like a little mix. You don't, there's something new coming every 30 or 40 feet. So what we kind of like to do is we'd like to stay away from the planter idea, and I wanted to kind of just see what everybody's thoughts were about the planter idea. But we would like to come forward with some recommendations about the corners, the planting a little bit more along the line with Romeoville, although maybe not exactly like Romeoville. They had a planting that kind of overwhelmed all the corners. It was maybe a little bit more mixture. And then more intermittent. We're kind of looking at Romeovilles and thinking we like that. It's not mounded. We want the mounding. We're a little concerned about the plantings on the medians that were mounded didn't look as healthy as the plantings on the straight. I don't know how to describe it. Flat, just the flat. And we don't know if that's because of moisture issues or what it might be. But we're kind of thinking flat trees, intermittent. Like you saw in Romeoville, intermittent chips, some bushes in the middle, maybe between the trees, maybe some grasses with corner kind of pops, something that pops in color on the corners. Does that seem, that's a very, you have to see it to really know, but does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Trustee Costa?
Yeah, I like the colors. I agree with the mayor. When you come in our community or leave it, or from either east or west end, I like the idea of something that's really appealing to the community. I think your first impression when you get into a community is just your first glance at it, especially when you see a sign that says "Welcome to." Unfortunately, no matter what you do, be it concrete, be it plantings, colorful, not colorful, I think we have to keep in mind too, there's going to be a tremendous expense in maintaining this whole corridor. And if no matter what we do, one way or another, we're going to have to commit to that. Because again, there's nothing more appealing than beautiful colors and flowers and nice bushes and trees, and nothing, conversely, nothing less appealing when there's dead bushes and weeds growing up. So the maintenance of it we have to look at also. Because if we do, the first 6 months, whenever you do any kind of landscape planning, it looks the best. It's perfect. After that, we have to commit to that. Also creates a safety issue. Who's going to maintain this? We're going to contract it out. Now we have 5 villages or communities that you gave us this information on. Do they have their own departments that take care of this on a daily basis? Because pretty much that's what you have to do. The way I'm going to look, and I have some recommendations, I'll talk to staff about it in the next few days or week. But if you go with the raised beds and the cement block or the bricks look very nice. If there's an annual, once this goes in, is it totally on us to maintain it? Yes. We saw what happened on one little area where a truck rolled over some landscaping we did, and we can't let this go 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before we repair it. We have to make a call, get it repaired up to pristine condition, because it is going to be on our main street. So I do have some recommendations, and it's kind of a mix of both. But we have to keep in mind, no matter what we pick, if it's all concrete, to me, that's really ugly. Weeds do grow up through it, it cracks. And you didn't show any pictures of all concrete or asphalt, but go down the Grange Road and you'll see tires there, bottles, milk crates and everything else. So it gets stuck on the median too, not just through landscaping.
Even the pictures I showed of Woodridge, if you go back to the 75th on the sheets in front of you, even the small, the thinner areas towards the intersections, where they're too thin to have landscaping. When you get in the 10, 15, 20 years, you see the cracks, you see the weeds, they have to go in and treat those, they have to weed whack them, etc. So that's absolutely what happens. We didn't show pictures with full cement medians because they're becoming harder to find, one, out this way, as like in Wheaton, they're transitioning to landscaping if they were before cement. And two, we knew that you had already communicated that wasn't something that you were interested in, you were looking for something for the summer. One of the things I just want to let you know about IDOT is you know, when we, you know, if we make the decision, which I think you already have, that you want it at the very least, grass and trees, you know, it's our median, we're maintaining it. IDOT is fine with us adding to it over time. So the reason I mentioned that in Romeoville, the 53 plans that you saw, originally the trees went in and the grass went in, and they came in and cut in some of the squares that you saw later. So in other words, it evolved over time, and we can do that too. And it might be that we want to pick a stretch, install something, and see how it looks, and see if we like it, and then build on it over time, you know, and you put it in, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's too tall, that doesn't work, visibility's bad, too much garbage gets caught in that, let's move that back, and we could adjust it, you know, over time. So we don't have to put it all in at once, we can let it evolve over time.
I know George wants to comment. What I would suggest is that there was a lot of examples, you know, you want to look and see visual examples as you're driving around. So as we move forward, just, I would say send your comments to Mike and Cam so they can put it together, get an idea of maintenance on what you're talking about, the cost of maintenance. But go ahead, George.
Just a few things. As for Bob's remark, we have control of the speed limit. So it doesn't mean just because putting this thing in that it's going to be 50 to 55. We control the speed limit.
And now we're going to Glen Highway.
While it's controlled right now, you still can't have, they're not going to make it 55.
Well, it's 50 now.
We can lower it down too. But my concern on and I agree with the mayor too, if you want it soft. But if you notice that most of the communities right now, like Tinley Park, that just got done redoing all the center islands, and they did brick it up. The reason being, every time it snowed, they put the salt down, and it killed the trees. They tried wrapping the trees, it didn't save the trees. It still had to be replaced. There's a lot of options you can do to fill in some of it with brick pavers or stamped cement. I don't know if the state would do a stamped cement.
The Bolingbrook example, if you look back on those pictures, they have stamped cement on back of curb. They colored it red to try to make it look like brick. It really doesn't look like brick. It looks like stamped cement.
Well, you can put color in it. You can put color in the cement and actually make it look. But the whole thing is, if we're going to do this, if we took baby steps, it'd probably be a little bit better because we can always build upon it. Because every time everyone puts landscaping in, within 3 years, you got to rip half it out because there's too much landscaping. So if you do it slow, put the trees in. But who would take care of this right now? I mean, if we put this in, would it be the highway department?
It's ours. It's ours. It could be, the state will put whatever you want in.
No, and I understand that.
It's our maintenance though.
But would we go through the highway department or we would hire out?
Most likely contract out. You contract the landscaping. And we did look at, didn't we have a number on just plain grass and trees, wasn't it? 15?
I think it was about 13,000 rough.
Yeah, just, if you just went with the grass and trees, intermittent trees, it's about $13,000 to $15,000 on an annual basis.
That's a mowing, that's basically a mowing bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, just because a couple of trustees mentioned this when you take back. Wheaton, it's county in Wheaton. Woodridge is a mixture of county and the village of Woodridge. Woodridge contracts out, even though they have a public works department, they contract out the maintenance of their medians. They have some very beautiful medians on side streets off of 75th. Bolingbrook is handled by the Bolingbrook Public Works Department. Romeoville is the same way. Orland Park is handled by their Public Works Department, and Lockport is mowed. I think Lockport is mowed by a contract. I think that's what Tim said.
Okay. Go ahead, Trustee Salem.
I had some questions. When you talk about taking a stretch and then experimenting or adjusting and so forth, the state plants in the beginning, is then Homer Glen plant later?
Correct. We can add, that's correct.
Okay.
So as an example, bare bones, grass and trees, we will have a conversation about what kind of trees we would like to see off of IDOT's master tree list. They have a tree list that they allow you to pick from, and they will determine who the contractor is to both lay the grass and to do the trees, and they put it in first. On the landscaping side, you know, I have to actually ask on the landscaping side. I have to see if that's them or us. But I definitely know on the trees, because I asked a question on trees and grass, those are their contracts.
They will not plant elm trees.
They let us pick trees from a list, and they are amenable to us discussing how much distance we want between the trees. So as you see in some, if we actually wanted to think about doing intermittent planting down the road, we would obviously want the trees a little bit wider apart than if we were just going to do grass and trees, and then we want them closer.
The other question I had was, who is responsibility after the state plants? Who is responsible is it to get these trees going, to water them? I mean, because you just can't stick a tree in the ground and expect it to live.
Yeah, it's us. Everything is on the village. The only thing that the state will fully maintain is cement. So if you want grass, like Lockport obviously picked the most cost-effective option. They planted grass and they sent someone out to mow it. But anything above cement is us, and we have to pay for the maintenance and the replacement. So if a tree, you know, we plant 100 trees, and after, you know, in 3 years, 20 or 30 of them die, we have to pay for the replacement of those trees.
I'm sure that there's plantings, trees and otherwise, that can tolerate dry conditions. I mean, there's lots of them. And on Route 171, Lockport does have trees and some shrubs, I believe, maybe some grass, coming into Lockport after New Avenue. And as far as color is concerned, I think there's a lot to choose from. Do they have a list also that we are to select besides trees?
All they have concerns about in terms of landscaping is the height of plantings at the corners. They don't want anything to be so tall that it impedes visibility from a car that is making a U-turn or entering the roadway from a side street or something of that nature. So they will not allow you to plant something that's going to grow 20 feet tall at the corners. Obviously, they have height limitations. And I think in Romeoville, some of those plantings were a little bit taller than their height limitations they told me, but so there might be a little flexibility, but height limitations.
I guess to cut to the chase is they will do basics and you can dress it up.
Okay.
It's your choice then.
Okay, one, I don't think you heard my question on the one thing. There's a tree list that we can select from. Right. Is there a planting list or a bush list?
The only concern they have about plantings is the height of them at the, yeah. So in our review of these, especially on the state routes, like in Romeoville, they actually have begonias planted in the median. I mean, they had, you know, I didn't count them up, but I'm guessing between probably 20 and 30 different plantings in Bolingbrook. And then obviously in Romeoville and other places they were more limited. So.
Okay, why don't we, you know, take what Cam provided, the shots, the pictures, the trees, the grass, the landscape brick and what have you, and put together how you would like to see that median look when it's all said and done, and we'll try to work on a concept together, and Cam will put it all together with Mike and get back to us then. Okay, is there any further discussion?
One more thing on that though, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to see a couple different prototypes, and that is it's introduced on the landscape meeting, one from a very conservative approach where we phase it in, as we brought up, and what the board had brought up, to full bloom, so we can look at the differences and the possible maintenance cost up front going into it as we phase into it. So I'd like to see how how it look phased in and how it look completed.
Very good. Well. Very good. And what we might do, I think staff's going to come back to the board with probably a recommendation on potentially utilizing a landscape firm that we've heard some communities have used in medians to give some ideas. We have some expertise, but you know, we're probably going to bring back some recommendations so we can get someone to really put together some visuals for you guys to look at and make your decisions on this. We'll do that here in the near term.
Okay. Is there any
reasonably
further
priced?
Any further discussion? Okay, then that concludes our workshop item for tonight. Is there any old business? Is there any new business?
I do have one question there.
Okay.
Actually, in a new business, the village manager put out his memos, and for the planning commission decision for the developer that came before us to see if he could get 20 acres rezoned, and the planning commission decided not to vote on it. When I read it, I called the gentleman that had the property, and all he's trying to do is market this thing right now. And it makes sense that all he's trying to do is 20 acres right now, because if he does a whole parcel, it goes from ag to commercial property, and the property taxes go through the roof. All he's trying to do is make this dirt marketable right now.
Myself and the village manager met with him and the attorney for the property today for about 2 hours. Okay. And we're trying to work that out. What it is that the depth of the property, it does not meet our ordinances. So we're trying to figure it out to get in this commercial zoning so that he can go out and market it. And we actually know who he's trying to market it to, and I'll discuss that with you later.
Well, that's actually public knowledge already.
Yeah.
I found out from my realtor.
Okay.
But the only thing that
just
we're
a
trying
quick correction on that. The planning commission did vote on it. They voted twice. They voted in the negative. So it's coming to the village board, I think the second meeting in October, with a negative recommendation from the planning commission. I think so they did vote on it. I want to let you know that. It is coming forward to the board. I think the petitioner is attempting to make some adjustments to their request that the board will see. One of those is, it's actually your comprehensive plan that suggests that parcels along 159th Street be at least 600 feet deep. That was a good decision, so you get some depth on these commercial developments. And the petitioner, based on the conversation that he had with the planning commission, has already agreed to add 200 feet to the 400-foot depth request. So I think, and based on the meeting that we had today, I think the petitioner is looking at ways that they can address some of the concerns that the planning commission raised before it comes to the village board for consideration.
Because as the mayor said, the company that wants to come forward, and we'll let the mayor announce that, they want to be in this by the 15th, by 2015. So he needs all I'm asking is that the board thinks about what he's looking for, that we kind of push this thing. Everything that he does, it still has to come before the board. What we're trying to do is make this marketable to where he can bring this project in, because it would be very huge for this village.
He'll be coming in front of the village board, like Cam said, second meeting in October. From my discussions with him today and the village manager's discussions, it seemed as though he addressed the planning commission's concerns. However, the planning commission voted once on the depth no, and then we're confused about a couple things that he was trying to clear up. It become more of a debate instead of a real clear thing. So when it comes before us, because it does not go back to the planning commission, I believe the issues will be resolved.
Right. I'm just looking from a business point of view too, that the more he converts over to the zoning, which he would have to change the rest of the property anyhow to do what he wants to do, all it does is it takes a very small tax bill and makes it a very large tax bill, and with the tax we have right now, we just try to help out the businesses as best as possible.
Okay, is there any other business? Okay, then the next item is executive session. This shouldn't take long. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing land acquisition and personal employment?
So moved.
Okay, first by that was trustee Sabo, second by trustee Costa. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, we're going to move to executive session. It shouldn't take us but a few minutes.